So you would have to be living under a rock to not be thinking about AI for your small business. And if you are a business owner, I'm sure that, like many, you're probably finding this a bit overwhelming. So I wanted to explain to you a way that you can look at it where it can be a little bit easier for you. I think instead of focusing on the technology itself, think of your business as a whole. And so for me personally, I am very comfortable with technology. I'm very comfortable with AI. I've been using ChatGPT since December 2022. That's when it was 3.5 that first came out, and I started using it right away. And so from there, I've been comfortable experimenting with different things. This video is being made on a platform called Descript, where you can make your video and you can then clean up the audio. It can do subtitles for you and all sorts of other things. So that is AI generated. I started using tech in my business in 2008, 2009, because I was brand new to business and we had the great financial crisis. And I'm telling you this story so that you can see that these things can help you in your business in different circumstances, both positive and negative. So I started on my tech journey because of a negative situation. I was new to business. My business had a severe downturn during the Great Recession. And I had to be able to keep it so that it could function to meet client demand or new client demand, but I had to greatly cut overhead. So how I did that, which is good and bad. The bad is I had to cut some of the administrative staff and put virtual assistants in place. That was a fraction of the cost, but we were able to still have the back office functionality. From there, things progressed to QuickBooks Online we used to have the clunky desktop version. So you actually had to be at your desk, at your workstation to work in QuickBooks. So we were able to move to the online version and then be able to have virtual assistants work virtually. Whereas before we had to have a physical person in the office sitting at a desk with a big computer tower and a paper shredder. We were then able to we moved from having physical papers. We had file cabinets back then. We moved into the cloud. We started to use Box for our file sharing. We digitized everything at that point because we were working with a virtual team. Okay. So that got me very comfortable working in the cloud and working in that environment. And from there, we progressed things to then train our clients, because what I learned as things started to pick up, we got through the recession. And as things started to pick up, I made the decision to stay in a digital environment because I felt like that's where the world was going. So I was always a little bit ahead. But the reason that I was pushed out ahead of this was because of that recession, where we were forced to make some tough decisions and get our business through it. So fast forward, we've come through the recession, and then we start training some of our clients. So we worked with Coast Guard contractors. We worked with prime contractors for the government. We worked as a subcontractor, and those people worked in a very traditional brick and mortar manner. So we had to have meetings in person. Like, all the meetings had to take place at my office in our conference room. I had to it was looking like we were going to have to continue to grow and keep adding office staff, because as the business grew with these type of clients, that's what they demanded. But I was gently working behind the scenes to help to shift them. So our clients used to come in, our Coast Guard contractor clients used to come in with their military grade big laptops in cases, and they had to be on Wi-Fi, and they had to have everything backed up, and got those guys moved securely into the cloud. Got everybody on Box, which was great. And then I was able to liaise with the people who were in a different state. Okay, the prime contractors. What they were doing is we had to keep all of these crazy spreadsheets to track everything. And she would have to do all her updates, and then she would have to email this massive spreadsheet to us. And it just took forever. And the spreadsheets were getting mixed up, and one girl would be updating one spreadsheet, and then the lady back at the client office would be updating another one. So I stopped the madness, put everybody in Box, and then they were able to share the spreadsheet in the cloud in real time, which we all know is completely normal. So we continued on our technology path. We then got everybody on iPads. So I started with our team, put them on iPads so that they could then do all of their work from the field. Remember, everybody was on Box, so you could get an app you could get an app for the iPad and they could access all their files, everything that they needed to there. So that we cut down time of them. Prior to that, all of the managers had to come back to the office to do updates, to have meetings, the same thing, be in conference rooms. So we changed it, got them on iPads, sent them to the field. They would stay in the field all day, and it was better. They could do a meeting in their car. They could do a meeting they'd have break rooms and places, meeting rooms even at the job sites. They could do meetings there. And from there, the Coast Guard contractors, they transitioned to iPads, got rid of those military grade laptops. They all had their iPads in the field. And our client, they had an iPad, but they would then be able to access all the same files that we would keep for them on Box. They then started going and doing everything in the field. So it became the waste of time, the inefficiency of time was cut down greatly. And I'm sharing this with you. Oh, there's one more actually. And then we also, because we were working with virtual assistants, we were able to provide pretty close to real-time updates for clients. These were on kind of job sites, just blue-collar work. So we were able to get updates from the field and then send those in real time to our clients at the end of the day. So every day at the end of the day, they got a job progress report because our VAs would log on at the end of the day. There would be like a little overlap. They would log on at the end of the day. They would receive the daily updates from the technicians out in the field, and then they would put those into a full email format and send those to the clients. So that really made us a very efficient business. We were definitely ahead of our time. And we continued on with utilizing technology. Some of these things were tough at first because there was resistance, right? And of course, all these things are normal now. Everybody's using these tools. But we also moved to virtual recruiting. And this was way before COVID. So we started using Zoom. We had to recruit nationally. So we would do almost like webinars, right? But they were online present. We would have invite people and we would do online presentations where we would present the position to people. We would get maybe 10 applicants on a webinar at one time. We would present the job opening to them, and then they would all ask questions, and then whoever was interested could stay on afterwards for a short 15-minute one-on-one with the manager, whoever the hiring manager was for that position. And it worked a treat. It was hard for the managers to get their head around because they much preferred somebody come to the office and meet with them. But it did fix our recruiting problem because we were able to recruit from a national pool rather than a local pool. And prior to that, we had extreme trouble filling technical positions. These were skilled labor positions. So I sharing all of this with you to share my journey. So that's how when I've just continued to use technology, but I personally did a lot of heavy lifting within my previous organization, and then brought everybody along with me and did training and just got everybody up to speed. And we just trained and trained. We had to do technology training with some of the managers were a little bit older, so that was tough. But as a team, we were able to utilize our millennials to train our baby boomers. And it just ended up being a very modern, old school brick and mortar trade business. So I wanted to share this with you because no matter what type of business you have, if you think you can't do that in this business, maybe you've got a plumbing business or a machine shop or something like that, you can absolutely integrate these tools because our business was about as traditional as it came. And so fast forward now into AI, I guess you could really just look at it as just another word for technology. Of course, it's artificial intelligence. There's a lot of thinking being done. We're going to be moving towards AI agents. But I think for small businesses, it's very important that you try, because if you look at some of the bigger companies, I know that over the weekend, I listened to a podcast. I think it was the Diary of a CEO, and he's a British entrepreneur. And he was reading out some emails that had been leaked through some bigger companies. And they were saying that they wanted to make sure that before they brought on a team member, that the team itself had gone through the process of making sure an AI couldn't do that job. Whether we like it or not, that's where we are, right? We can't really ignore it. And having been through such a big upheaval in the past, I think it's exciting. And one of the things that I'll be doing is sharing information with you on what AI tools you can add to your business. I did a post on LinkedIn about this earlier today. And whatever type of business you're running, you can cut admin time, improve customer service. You can also spot patterns in your financials. You can automate repetitive tasks, and you can make faster and better decisions. Of course, it's going to be slow as you transition over, but I'll be doing some presentations on some of the tools you can use. And if you would like to learn how my company can help you to integrate AI services into your daily operations, you can certainly send me a message. But I wanted to give you a backstory because I think it's helpful. Like having gone through this previously, I don't think it's going to be bad. I just think you're going to have to get the right mindset. And you probably should, if you're a small business, that you don't have an extensive team, maybe you have between 1 and 20 people, then find out who on your team is the most tech savvy, or pick a couple of people who are really interested in this subject and make them team leaders on doing the research, on bringing ideas to you on how it can be integrated. But again, if you would like help with this, is certainly something that my business can help your business to do. Okay. But I hope this is helpful, and I hope it helps you to just see it maybe through a different lens, that it can actually help you. Because I know before, in my previous business, when we were strictly brick and mortar, we wasted a lot of time and a lot of money on paper, on meetings. Those meetings, everybody's arriving not necessarily always on time. Then you have to have coffee. Then before you know it, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and then everybody's going for lunch at 11:30. When you are the small business, maybe the bigger business can absorb some of that, but as a small business, you can't. So hopefully this is helpful, and I hope that you find yourself excited about AI for your small business.